Foogsters, today we're going to be making one of my personal favorite dishes, which is Schnitzel.
Cheap, easy meals. This is one of the best, and it's really hard to mess up. Stick around.
All right, Brett, so today we got Schnitzel on the menu, which you have made me several times, and I've actually never been involved in the process of making it. So you're essentially going to teach me how to make Schnitzel so that you aren't on the hook all the time.
Yeah, so we've had this out to eat a couple of times, right?
Mostly in Europe. We've had it once in America, and it was horrible.
It was really bad in America. Not to say that they're all bad, but our experience was awful. So we decided to make it at home. We made it amazing at home. It wasn't dried out, didn't taste like a shoe. We actually made it gluten-free, which I think the way that we're going to make it today, actually, I think it tastes better than the traditional route. It's a little bit different, but
those are fighting words.
I got a lot more of a crunch on mine, which is kind of the way I want it to be.
Yeah.
So,
well, we've had some really good crunchy ones over in Europe, but this is for sure for how easy it is a very good way to do it because it almost perfectly mimics like the real deal. We've had Schnitzel in Vienna, we've had Schnitzel in Germany, and it very closely mimics what we've had there.
So what we're going to do with our recipe is we're going to use a pork chop rather than, I know sometimes they use like veal or lamb or something like that, or a combination of different meats.
Yeah, veal is very common.
But to keep things like pretty inexpensive, we're going with a pork chop. We just happen to have pork chops because we bought a pig like a year ago.
Yeah, so can we just talk about our pork chops for a second? Like, look how massive these are.
Right. It's as tall as the egg is.
An inch thick or an inch and a half maybe.
They're an inch and a half, I think.
And like really just nice. Like we were in the grocery store and we saw pork chops and I was like, man, our pork chops are baller.
Yeah, so you don't need to get them this thick. It actually makes it a little bit harder because what we're going to do is we're going to flatten them out. So it just takes us a lot of beat work to just mash these guys down. We just end up with like basically a pork chop the size of a pizza at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you have a little bit thinner pork chop, your job's going to be a little bit easier. The only other things we need to have are lemon and an egg, and then we're going to use some breadcrumbs and a little bit of flour to kind of coat the outside. We make Schnitzel as a really crispy outside. They also call it like katsu, I think is another way to say this. It's like breaded pork. But we're going to use gluten-free pretzels, specifically one kind of gluten-free pretzels that... Glutini that never get stale. We had them in our cupboard for like a year, and then they tasted exactly the same when I tried them one day.
Chemicals.
So, yeah, whatever it's made of, yeah. But the crispiness that really pops from those particular pretzels that we grind up is absolutely perfect for this recipe. So.
Yeah, and the lemon is just because it's my favorite way to top it. Brett also might make like a caper sauce because that's how he likes to top his Schnitzel. You see people top it with a variety of things. Sometimes they do paprika, like fresh paprika. You'll do a sauce, but if you are traditional and very German like myself, then usually a lemon is just the way to go.
Lemon, you can't go wrong with that. If you want to get crazy on top of that, power to you. But definitely requires the lemon at a very minimum. I wouldn't eat it dry.
All right, well, should we start beating these to death?
We're gonna start beating the heck out of these things. Yep.
All right, so now that we've basically started setting up Dexter's kill room, what's next?
So this is what we're gonna pound it out with. So I don't happen to have like a big pounding mallet, and you don't want to use the spiky ones, right? You'd want to use like a flat edge. The flatter the surface, the better. Because we're just trying to like crush it down. We're not trying to put holes in it, right?
Okay.
And so I just happen to always use my handy dandy ball jars that I can fit my hand into.
Ball State University, chirp chirp.
Yeah, so sometimes I'll, if I want to hurt my hand, I can do that. I wouldn't recommend that though.
You can tell he doesn't make this with my supervision.
Normally I just kind of like pound it out with like the rim here and kind of flatten it around the edges. So you can hit pretty hard. You're just kind of tenderizing it to get started. And probably it'll take about like a couple minutes of this to get these super thick ones like really flat. And the fattier parts of these, like they feel really tough now, but they'll get like really soft as you go through this process. And so you want to hit it down at first, just kind of to soften it up. And then when you get where it's getting a little bit flatter, you want to kind of just like aim out.
Okay.
So you're kind of dragging it out at the end so it like smears it a little bit.
Schmear.
Schmear.
All right.
So you're looking to basically like double it in size though, almost. from what it is right
Or maybe
now.
even triple.
Well, we'll see how far we can get. You get tired of this pretty fast.
So my favorite story, Brett, about eating schnitzel is like the one time when we went to a small restaurant, I think in Austria, and I order a schnitzel and then I just hear the guy in the back like, bah, 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 bah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can hear him like shaking the restaurant in the back, just smashing out the schnitzel made to order. That's how you know you're at a better spot than where we went to in America. So
Yeah.
we didn't hear any of that, and it probably came out of a box.
Because I would say you don't just want to get a thin slice of meat. There is value add by tenderizing it.
Right. So we took like a muscle group basically, and then we exercised those muscles basically. Really made them bounce up and down quite a bit from smashing it. So we relaxed them. So you're not. This isn't going to be a chewy piece of meat in any way. I don't even know if we could cook it long enough that it would get like really that kind of tough. It's really, really tender when you cook it up the right way. That's why it's part of the recipe for success is, you do a little bit of prep work, you get a little bit of frustration out, and then dinner's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so the next step is going to be the dredging station. So we're going to take our egg, we're going to take our flour, and we're going to season it a little bit, and then we're going to coat it in our crunchy little pretzels. Then we need to turn our pretzels into pretzel dust first.
Oh, so I can get more anger out.
No, I was just going to throw them in the blender, but if you want to smack them into a bag or something, you can do that too. I usually just throw them in the blender for like 30 seconds, and then like I have like dusty particles, I have like chunkier particles from the pretzels. There's a little bit of salt involved in that too, so it just comes out perfect.
So this is a lesson in working smarter, not harder.
If you have a blender that'll chop up pretzels, which most should do a pretty good job at, then I would use that. You can always just smash it with your hands, throw it in a Ziploc bag, hit it with a rolling pin. It chops up pretzels just fine as well.
Well, let's get going to Flavor Town here.
All right, choo-choo. All right, so we've got our egg. We've got our crumpled up pretzels here that we just ran through the blender. Very crunchy and crispy. Not stale in any way. We've got our flour here that we're just going to do a light dusting on. And we've got our salt and pepper. So we're going to start with the salt and pepper. So you want to season the meat directly. Some people like to season the actual flour itself, but you run the risk of that not being coated enough. I like to know that I've covered my meat with everything that I want. So I'm going to season one side with salt. We'll do one side with pepper. And you can do anything you want here. This is just keeping it as basic as possible. So just pat that in there. And then I'll flip them over. Get the other side as well.
Oh, you ripped it.
Oh, yeah, I ripped it, yeah. You didn't beat the heck out of it to the point where it was ripped in half or anything.
I had a lot of anger today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So we went on the bike trail, and people who ride 3 wide on the bike trail when there's only 2 that fit one way, they got my aggression today.
Yeah. Usually it's the people that are like walking next to the bike trail that like jump into the bike lane at the last minute.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
It's real, it's bike person problems up in here. Now that we've got it coated, we're gonna take a little bit of the flour. And this is another kind of trick. Normally you just like wipe it in like a bowl of flour or something. This, if you just like dust the flour right on top. Yeah, just put it right on top. You're not wasting extra flour. Yeah, just like that. You're not wasting extra flour. You're just putting exactly the amount of flour on you need. You don't have any like leftover. So yeah, just keep going a little bit more. Yeah,
okay.
I'll pat it in a second, but I just want to get a healthy amount on there.
Is that a healthy amount?
Yeah, so I'll pat it in. We just make sure it's all covered in the flour on each end. Pat, 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 pat. Just give it a real spanking. Just because wherever you put the flour is where the egg is going to kind of like stick onto. So we want that. And then wherever the egg sticks onto is where the pretzels are going to stick onto. Flip them over and do the same thing to the other side. Get them on the edges here. Coax it off. Shake off any kind of excess really. Yeah.
Let me just Velcro this bag closed.
Yeah. Again, if you haven't seen any of our previous videos, whoever came up with the idea to Velcro these bags for like resealability, like genius.
It's so much better than the Ziploc, where after like too many opens and closes, it's hard to line it up, and you're like, problems. But these are great.
Kitchen people problems, right?
Yeah.
We got all kinds of categories of problems. That one looks good. This one looks good too. Just fold her up, make sure all the edges are. Look how foldable this is now, right?
Yeah.
We really beat the heck out of it. So All right, foldable, pliable.
Those 3 wide bikers, they better watch out. This could be their face.
Angela's coming for you. All right, so the next thing is we're going to take that and we're going to put it in our egg. All right, there we go.
Do we mix the egg up? Or
We do, yep.
on a plate? I've never put an egg on a plate.
We'll mix it up. If you have a fork next to you when you're starting to do this process, that would be ideal. But for me, I get to use my finger.
Some of us prefer to use our hands for any and all cooking-related items.
I mean, I'm going to have to dredge this in a second and get my hands dirty regardless. So, all right, there we go. Got lots of egg. And basically, both of these, normally when I do this, 2 pieces of pork that are as huge as ours will absorb all of this egg. There shouldn't be really any left.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I'm thinking even an egg per might do it, but...
You'd think. All right, here we go. I'm getting it in there, really globbing it up. Getting on all the edges and all the sides. Oh yeah, there we go. Nice and goopy. Extra
it looks
goopy.
like our mountain yam from our okonomiyaki video.
Right?
Which, if you haven't watched that one, that was one of the best things we've ever made. We'll put the link right up here and you can go check that out. But we thought that might be a disaster. We had never made it before. And to date, it's one of my favorite things we've probably ever made in our kitchen.
There we go. All right, really getting that snot off there. All right, and then next we're going to dredge it in the pretzel. And this, oh gosh, avalanche. So I get for using the smaller plate.
All right, Brett, so how does that look?
Looks good. All right, so as long as it all holds together, now take that and put it on the plates that are behind you. So probably bring the plate over to you. You will drop some pretzels as you do this, so go ahead and feel free to shake it off, but just pat them, just make sure they're patted in there. There you go.
All right.
Yep.
And then
And
ready
we're
for
gonna
me
do
to
the
do the
same thing
next
for
one?
round number 2 here.
All right.
Okay. Press down on her. They're all pinched in there. Get her coated. Yeah, just drop them in. Yeah, perfect. Like you're a natural. It's like she's made this before, guys.
It's like I'm German or something.
Yeah, that looks fantastic. So we'll do the same thing with this plate. Clank. Oh, I had some extra pretzels too. That's
We
crazy.
can put them in a bag and, oh darn, we have to make it again
We have to
soon.
make schnitzel again. I guess we'll have leftover pretzels and then pre-made. So as long as we don't eat them because they had raw meat on them, we'll just use them for the raw meat process again.
Right. Well, now we just fry them up?
So it helps if you leave them in the fridge for about 10 minutes or so, maybe even longer. At this point, you can put them in the fridge until you're ready to eat them. Could be you do this in the afternoon and you're eating it for dinner, but you just take it out of the fridge about 2 or 3 minutes before you're ready to fry them up, and you're good to go. You don't need to let them warm up to room temperature again. It's pretty easy.
Well, I'm jazzed because I love schnitzel. So as one of our favorite YouTubers says, let's do it to them.
Doing it to them. All right, let's do it to them. Who's ready for schnitzel?
Me?
Yeah, me too. It smells real good in here.
Schnitzel is basically done. It's just degreasing.
Right, yeah, so we just put it on a paper towel after we pulled it out of the frying pan. We just fried it in canola oil, just enough oil to basically cover the bottom of the pan. That covered easily enough for 2 schnitzels. 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes each side, depending on how thick they are, but do not overcook them.
Right.
Right, do not go to 5 minutes. They'll be like a little bit too chewy if you want to go in that direction.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200.
It won't be bad. It'll still be better than what you would normally get in a restaurant, but it's better if it's like not, the less chewy it is, the better. So
Go directly to Flavortown.
go directly to Flavortown.
So we're going to make our toppings real quick. Brett's going to do some super complicated sauce, and I'm going to cut a lemon in half.
All right, there we go.
We got like massive lemons too. It's like the size of my palm.
Yeah.
I have big palms. Like, probably can't tell because you think, oh, she has baby palms. It's the size of a lemon. But like, no, I have like man hands, and that's a big lemon.
So how much of that lemon do we need then?
I like to do 1/4 of a giant sized lemon per schnitzel. Now, do you still want lemon on yours?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do both. I do the combo.
I might do a couple capers on mine, but
Can you just the capers?
yeah. I'll try your sauce.
All right.
But I'm a schnitzel purist.
Well, if you're gonna try my sauce, you need to cut me up a couple pickles.
Where did you get these pickles?
These are homemade pickles. We got cucumbers in the fall, and I just put them in a little brine that we mixed up and jarred them up, and put them in the fridge.
Yeah, super easy to make your own. So don't be scared of it.
And then I'm just going to mix her up. So it's just pickles, capers, and a little bit of mayonnaise.
Did you get the capers?
I did. I put them in first.
Oh, I didn't see you.
Snuck them into the bottom. I made a lot of this, so hopefully it'll go a long way. But our schnitzels are gigantic because our pork chops started out being monsters. So.
Like, I feel like a lot of places tell you can get a burrito as big as your head, but we can get you schnitzel as big as your torso.
All right, so now that we have our stuff, let's see how big our torsos are.
Oh.
I don't know what you did there. Oh, yeah, nailed it. All right, looking good.
All right, so we got our schnitzel. I ended up cutting the lemons in half again because they were massive, but we're pretty much ready to go. And for a super fun side, because the traditional thing to eat with schnitzel would be like kartoffelsalat, which is potato salad, or sauerkraut, which is just like fermented cabbage. Most people have had sauerkraut, but we don't have those right now. We're out of sauerkraut, so we fermented green beans recently. So I figured that would be a nice little side. How are they? I haven't tried one yet.
A little tangy. That's funny. Never had fermented green beans ever before. This one bite I just had. They're just a little different.
You know, I never thought I had them, and now that I'm eating this, I'm like, I've had this. I think maybe at my grandparents' house when I was a kid.
That's a very good place to have had it. You know, fermented foods aren't as popular as they probably should be. But, I mean, you can ferment anything. We've kind of gotten away from it with refrigerated foods in the last 100 or so years. But I think this is a pretty good snack.
Yeah,
better than regular green beans.
It reminds me of like 3-bean salad too, that you add vinegar to, but you don't have to add vinegar because it's just fermented.
Yeah, because I just put it in like salt water for like 7 days. So.
Would recommend.
So back to the schnitzel. I think they turned out fantastic. So
Yeah.
are we ready to dive into this or what?
Yeah, let's go. So I'm gonna go ahead and juice my lemon right on top. Oh gosh.
Wow, everywhere, all over. Probably the camera just got splashed.
Splash
The dog just like took some lemon to the face. You might think you're adding a lot of lemon to this too, and like you really can't add too much. I mean, it kind of just absorbs it all.
Again, going back to our restaurant called Not Enough Sauce. Ma'am, you have too much lemon here? No, it's sauce. Not enough.
Not enough.
Yeah, I'm really just squeezing the crap.
Wow,
out of
yours
this.
looks like there's a pool on top of it.
Yeah.
You might have exceeded the threshold.
No, I'm so happy. This is everything I want in a schnitzel.
All right,
It's just-
I'm going to start with one, and I'm going to put my sauce on one part of it here.
All right. Should I go for a bite with or without your sauce first?
Without. Take it the way you want it. Get the best bite you can get. I'm also going to go one without my sauce first, right at the end.
I know this is going to be good.
Perfectly done. A little pink on the inside.
Super tender meat. Super crispy outside. It's so easy. I know we kind of cheat by using the pretzels, but it's like easy and it works every single time.
Right. You got a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of salt and pepper, a little bit of extra salt from the pretzels. The outside is completely coated in like a layer of crispiness because of the like finely coated pretzels that we did in the blender. And then you have like these big like chunks of pretzel as well that we fried up that came along with it that didn't get as pulverized in the blender. And then you get like a nice crunch from those as well.
Yeah.
So you get like the nice soft meat, the crispy pretzel. There's multiple textures going on here.
I think schnitzel is one of the most underrated dishes in the world.
And it's like one of the cheapest, right?
Yeah.
Like it's a
Cheap and easiest. Super easy. Your sauce is good. I still prefer it with just lemon.
wow. I like the sauce. I like it both ways. I'll eat it no matter what.
That's okay. You can tell me. I'm complaining. Sir, there's too much sauce on this.
There's never enough sauce, ma'am.
And so the other thing I would say is like, this would definitely be an even cheaper dish if you weren't pigs like us. Like, we're gonna eat these entire schnitzels. But realistically, if you had a side of potato salad or you had, we have our side of green beans, we could have sauerkraut, you could cut this in half. This could be for 4 people.
Yep.
But we are pigs. And we admit it, we don't make schnitzel very often. It's like a special occasion thing for us. Like, we had it for my birthday. We'll typically make it, a couple times a year. So when we do, we kind of go all in.
Which, that's just us. I mean, we could make it every night of the week if we wanted to. Like, we have a ton of pork chops. Pretzels are not that expensive. And that's it. There's like no ingredients in this, and it takes like 20 minutes to make. Give it a try. Leave a comment down below if you want to try this out with us and you made it and you think it's great or you hate it. We'd love feedback either way.
And make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification so that you get weekly updates every time we post a video, because we post a lot of cheap and easy meals, but we also do a lot of very interesting meals, and they're all really fun to watch.
Yeah, check out our latest video right over here somewhere, down here, over here, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye!